And we are back. I bet you thought we were gonna miss an episode. Um, we're I want to say maybe a day and a half, 2 days later than we normally record. Um, and as I mentioned, kind of leading up to last week, I was sunsetting at least temporarily, one part of my life, which is the academic part, and the role of being like a professor. And it was graduation week, end of the spring semester, so there's a lot happening there. And as that is happening, I'm ramping up the other professional aspect of my life as well. But yeah, so that kind of altered or affected our normal cadence, but we're still here. There's a lot that I would want to talk about, and I'm looking forward to having today's conversation. It's going to be interesting. And yeah, I know what I want to talk about, and I will get into it, but I don't know if I've ever said it on here. These episodes, these aren't planned in the sense of like this is unscripted, right? It is a stream of consciousness. It is literally just whatever I think in the moment, almost like a data dump or brain, allowing myself to just speak freely without any script, because I want it to be authentic. I want it to feel real. I want it to feel human. I want you to see the hiccups that come with freestyling, and hopefully it carries over, depending on which medium you use to kind of consume this, whether visually or audibly. It's just one stream of consciousness, and obviously the theme is always creativity, but I just thought I'd share that. I don't know, for some reason I feel like I may have never said that before, but if that was the first time you heard it, then it is true. We're gonna start off how we always start off, with an exercise in mindfulness, 10 breaths, focusing on your breath, starting now. Now that we're here, I have a brain teaser for you. Who has married many women but was never married? Who has married many women but was never married? I know in times past we've covered a lot of topics as it relates to creativity, and we've remixed a lot of those conversations and brought a few of those concepts back and introduced them into later episodes. And this feels like something similar is about to happen. We talked about like creativity in excess. What do you do when you have excess creativity? We talked about when you are creative, your creativity is not limited to one particular medium. It allows you to kind of almost like shapeshift or translate that creativity into different aspects of your life, and it showcases itself in multiple different forms. And creativity allows a level of versatility in human beings that is like unmatched. And I think when you are engulfed and are fully experiencing the length and breadth of your creativity, you see that versatility, and you see the range that it provides. And I don't want to say like we've all experienced it, but I also don't want to say that not a lot of us have experienced that. But for the ones that have, you know when you're experiencing it, and it is a beautiful feeling to be able to experience the vastness of your creativity, and the range that it actually provides, and the versatility that comes with that. I'm saying that knowing that not everything that is good is good. You can argue that it's a gift and a curse, and especially in the type of medium that your creativity occupies, because it makes me think of like this saying, and I may have brought up this adage on here before, this idea that jack of all trades, master of none. And if you've heard it before, I think that is the full length of what you've heard. Like most people have only heard that jack of all trades, master of none. But that's only the first half of that adage. The full adage is jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And I think when I think of the epitome of creativity, it's that. It's this idea that it allows you to shapeshift. It allows you to be everything, to be chameleon, like in the way you create, in what you create, and how you create it, and where it is actually created, which I think it is not only remarkable, it's fascinating to experience. And if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And but the challenge with that is it allows you to create in multiple different mediums, and it opens up your reach, not only how far you reach, but it opens up who you reach, and it exposes your talents and your creative gifts to other people. Now, the challenge with that is when you have that level of range, you cross over into different demographics, and this is when you start seeing artists and fans of those artists or lovers of their creative work not look alike. Like when I think of like in this case, let's think of like music artists. When you go to their concerts, you might see an older person and a kid dancing or vibing to the same music or singing along with the lyrics, and I think there's beauty in that. Now, there's one sense in like creating a singular sound that is received by everyone, or creating a piece of art or work or some creative product that because of how it is perceived or embraced, it can be consumed differently, but still meet everybody where they are, which I think is beautiful. But the versatility that comes with creativity is not in the necessarily the singular end product, is the ability to make multiple different products that come from the same creative source. And that is what I want to talk about today. Like just this idea of like having the ability to create and meet the needs of a vast number or a varying number of receivers or consumers or just people, appreciators of your work. And I think as much as it is good, there is some drawbacks to it, and not from like you or like it's not something that comes specifically from you. I think it comes from your core fans, or your core fans, like the people who maybe knew you, the first version of you, the version of you that existed, that was good, and some might argue that was great. And they are purists. They love you for who you were, and they wish that you would have just stayed that person. But because you love them so much that when you create, you always account for them. And in one sense, it's always important to stay true to your core audience, but how we grow, how we adapt, how we showcase longevity, how we expand requires some level of adaptability, some level of versatility, and I think your reach is a reflection or proof that your creativity is not only adaptable, it can connect across the spectrum, which I think is when you know you've experienced almost like the flow state, because it puts you in a really good spot. But the challenge with that is when you go to create art, who are you creating for? Is it for you? Is it for your core audience? Is it for the new audience? Is it for the audience that you haven't touched yet? And how do you do that? Like, how do you account for all of these demographics of appreciators of your work? And I think it'll be better if we give like a real world example. Who's in like what is in conversation right now? What is everybody talking about? What's trending that I can make an association with? Drake. Drake just dropped 3 albums, and I don't know, for those who are listening to this, I don't know if you consider yourself a Drake fan. If you're not, if you are, I feel like when you bring up Drake now, because of what happened over the last few years or couple years, especially with the battle and the beef between Kendrick, people have been picking sides. But for this conversation, I just want to make it purely about like creativity, the art of it, and the artist in this particular case, Drake, who I'm a fan of, if I'm honest. Like, one of the things I appreciate about Drake is, and this used to be, or still is, what Hove was for me. I think Hove, as in Jay-Z. I grew up listening to Jay-Z. I think even on here I mentioned that Jay-Z was my dialect coach. My American English is heavily influenced by Jay-Z, because he is who I listened to a lot growing up. And I typically, I guess my natural voice or cadence is, I'm from Belize, so I have a Caribbean accent. And you I'm sure you picked it up as you hear me talk. You've been hearing me talk for all this time. But one of the things I appreciate about Jay-Z, everything that happened in my life, there is a song or a lyric or a verse that from a Jay-Z project that aligns, or I can use as almost like a reference point, or it speaks to this that's happening, and it can help me get through whatever that is. And there was a certain part of my life when I found Drake that he almost was the soundtrack of my life at that moment. And that's when I grew to appreciate his music. And one of the knocks on Drake is the fact that his versatility, and that's why he's had longevity. Those 2 artists that I mentioned, both Hove and Drake, one of the characteristics or the things about their career that make them who they are or speak to their greatness is the fact that they've done it over an extended period of time. I think 96 was Jay's first album, Reasonable Doubt. And then for Drake, he's going on maybe 17 years, almost 20 years. I think 2009 was when So Far Gone came out. And they both shown the ability to adapt to the times. I don't know that there was this much variation in music when Jay was in his prime, but genres today are more fluid. When Drake came in, he was a singer slash rapper, and so he sat in both like the R&B space as well as the hip hop space. But since then, like he's expanded and created works in dancehall, in dance, in pop, and for a lot of artists that could be challenging because you'd think that they would lose their essence, the essence of who they are as an artist. But no, I think Drake is, again, this idea of being chameleon, like, and not only just try it and just to try it, but try it and be successful at it, right? He has done songs with the biggest Latin artists. So he's created that form of music as well. He's done Afro beats as well. So, and as much as for his core audience or those who aren't true fans, they might take shots at him for doing that. But it's never it never comes across as like bad. I think for those who appreciate it. It's one of those things where it's like it's not bad. It's just not meant for me, or it's just not meant for you. And if we're honest, we could say that, but we cannot argue that the music is not quality. It's quality music. And since dropping these this project recently, and this is after Drake has been on a hiatus. You could depend on who you ask. There was music that came out in between the time, but like a Drake project wasn't. We were waiting. Everybody was waiting on a Drake project, and when I'm saying everybody, and which puts Drake in a predicament because when everybody's waiting for you and you create music that satisfies the need of different segments of a generation or a society, how do you craft music that appeals and appeases all of those different segments of your core fan base? And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, the difficulties of being Drake. When you're an artist and you have a singular sound, it's easy to go in. I'm using easy loosely here, but it's easier to go in and make something that matches your sound because that's what is expected of you. And the knock on Drake is like one of the knocks. I still think Views is a classic album, but that he hasn't created a classic album, which I think is a lie. But I understand why, because there's so much versatility and range in the type of music Drake makes in a singular project. It's hard to create almost a cohesive body of work that fits a certain audience. And he has to cater to all these different segments. And we talked about flow state in a previous conversation. I think over the last 2 years, Drake has been in a flow state, a creative flow state, where he was creating so much music and inspired and motivated. And any emotion can trigger art. You can create art from any emotion. So a lot of times when people there's this idea, this notion that Drake was in a bad place or he was in a loss, so he might not be creative as he normally was. I'd argue that maybe this was one of the most creative periods of his life, and it showed that. So, in one of the, I was listening to one of the albums. I've listened to all three of the albums, and maybe I'll talk about all three in that, like, as quickly as possible. We're running out of time here. I think he was in a flow state. I know he was in a flow state, and he was making records, and I think he finished an album really quickly and still had a lot more to say. And what he ended up doing as records were being created, he started to kind of, I don't want to say itemize, but section off the different music into spaces or into a collection that's specific to the audience, his 3 or 4 main audience groups. And the version of Drake that I appreciate most is introspective Drake. The rapper who just writes emotional rap records that are deeply personal, and they feel extremely authentic and vulnerable, and it's almost like emo rap. And I think when he was writing Iceman, that's the Drake, the version of Drake that we got, and it was just about writing raps. If you listen to that album, you realize there's not a lot of hooks. It's not about writing in the standard verse, hook, 3 verses, hooks. It's just about getting these raps out, and the purity of it, and the authenticity of it, and the rawness of it, and just addressing everything that he wanted to address. Iceman was made for me, and for those just like me who appreciate that version of Drake. And this version of Drake always shows up in the timestamp records. Then there's a BBT, which is the R&B love song, toxic love song version of Drake that women enjoy, but not just any women. It's like, these are women who are like been in relationships or suffering like heartbreak, and about to get into another relationship, or just left another one, and there's elements and storylines in it that they can relate to, connect with, and share. This is also like the music that if you're trying to catch a vibe, it plays really well in the background, and like women gravitate towards this type of music. It's beautiful music, and it sounds good, but it has the nuance of like some level of toxicity, but it's honest, and that's what I got from Habibi T. Then there's Maid of Honor, which again feels more like a record for his women fans, but not the same women from Habibi T. These women are the one that travel in groups and party, and it feels like, I don't know if you've ever heard Popcorn's like Pretty Crew, where it's like if Habibi T girl might, after a breakup, take a trip to, or like a solo trip to go find herself, reconnect, and she'll be listening to Habibi T. This group is like, no, this is a girl's trip, or a girl who's getting flown out. Like, she knows the lifestyle, she understands the game, and she just needs the music that's going to be the background music to allow for this lifestyle to kind of to set the tone for this lifestyle. Like, we're just here to have a good time. We know what it is. And for the guys, this is like, hey, she's going to bring her friends, and it's your job to bring the vibes and make sure that all the elements of that support the experience that her and her friends are looking for and you have to know what you're getting into, because if you're not built for this, like, don't. And that's kind of interesting to say, but yeah, that's what I think Maid of Honor, who I think Maid of Honor is for. And for him to be able to create a project that appeals to all his core fan base, I think is remarkable. It proves his versatility, his ability to cater to his core fan base in a singular moment. I will argue that all these three albums are a singular album, just decoupled. And the only reason they ended up being three was because the flow state that Drake was in allowed him to create so much that it now got over the hurdle that he had faced in prior album releases. This idea that having to create a singular project that accounted for everyone. So for the core fan base that just wanted rapping Drake, they'd listen to it, and then when the women record, the female records came into play, it'll kind of be like not what that particular fan base would want, which is the reason a lot of critics took shots at Drake and Drake projects. But here's an opportunity for him to give everybody what they wanted at the same time, especially after the hiatus. But I still believe this is a singular project, just strategically giving everybody what they wanted, and allowing you to get Drake in the way that you want him, and not necessarily be, I don't want to use the word distracted by the other aspects of it, of the album or the people he might be catering to. This wasn't intended to be a Drake review at all. But it is an appreciation of the flow state that he's in, the versatility that he showcased, and the ability to create music to cater specifically to the audience, his core fan base, and meet them exactly where they are. Not a lot of artists can do that. And I can listen to all three and still enjoy it. I know which one was made for me. But the beauty about, or the skill and the gift that is Drake, is his ability to do all these and still be, in essence, who he really is, and still be authentic. And he hasn't skipped a beat, yo. It's like, so this was good. Anyways, this is my longest episode, and it suddenly turned into a Drake album review. We'll end this how we started. Who has married many women but was never married? The Priest. I will leave you how I always leave you. Go be great.